Welcome to Have a Drink with Trade Hospitality. Today we're joined by Guillaume of Louie, which opened in Covent Garden mid-pandemic. So we're going to pass you over to Guillaume to introduce us to Louie.
Hi there. Louie is a restaurant in Covent Garden, the ex-location of Atelier de Robuchon, so quite a famous street. There is the Ivy, the original Ivy on the same street. So we are on West Street, just off Shaftesbury Avenue. And we were meant to open in 2020, April, first week of April. But due to the pandemic, we waited 5-6 months and finally opened early September for 2 months until we had another lockdown in November, and then we opened in December for a couple of weeks, 10 days, I think, and close again. So Louie is a restaurant who take his roots from my own personal story. So Paris, New York, New Orleans. Paris, I'm French. New York, because I lived there for 9 years. And New Orleans, I opened a French New Orleans restaurant called Jack Luxury Oyster Bar, J-Lob, in end of 2003 in New York with Slade Rushing and his wife, Alison. Slade is our chef today here in London, in Louis. So we met again 16 years later to tell this story. So it's a restaurant located in Covent Garden with a story going from Paris to New York and New Orleans.
Lovely. And yes, so you opened mid-pandemic. How has that been? How have you found that?
Well, when we opened in September, everybody was trying to be optimistic, knowing that we had already a lockdown for 4 or 5 months. So to open in September at the time seemed like it was a good time, because September, it's always a good time to open a restaurant ahead of the busy season with Christmas. The first 2 weeks were fabulous because we had no restrictions and life was starting to boom again. And unfortunately, very quickly, we got the 10 p.m. restriction, and then the same family restrictions. So it's been challenging, especially when you've been waiting for 5 months to open your place. Then finally you can open, and then you get all those restrictions. But we kept going. You need to learn new reflex, obviously, to keep your guest and your team safe and healthy. So wearing the mask, sanitizing, washing your hands, all those little reflex that usually you have in restaurant business, washing your hands, but gel, social distance, wearing the mask all the time. It's been tough. I think the toughest part has been all the restrictions of closing at 10 p.m., knowing that you can only do one service, an early service. Luckily, we are in the UK, and people are quite flexible. They can go out and have dinner at 6 o'clock. My business partner in Paris, Paris Society, do not have that chance. People don't go out to eat at 6 o'clock, even if there are restrictions. They would be very difficult to get them before 7:30. Where here we managed to fill the restaurant at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, sure. And so we've started 2021, the new year, with COVID and Brexit. So for the restaurant industry, what are your predictions for the year ahead?
Well, I think I'm always very optimistic. I think that COVID is almost behind us, and it's. I know everybody would have loved to start 2021 with COVID already behind. I think it's behind. It's the race to vaccination. And I want to believe that when everyone has been vaccinated, I mean, people who need the vaccine, a few people had I mean, few people, a lot of people had the virus. So obviously those people might not need to be vaccinated at the moment. But when vaccination has been done, I think life will start again. And so that I look at 2021 as being a much better year than 2020. Brexit, yeah, it's a little extra challenge to the year, but I think we'll be okay. Few prices are gonna rise, obviously, with different taxes. Supply might be challenging at some stage, but I'm optimistic. I think at least I'm talking for London. London will be ready and efficient to work with Brexit. You know, in terms of immigration and staffing, everybody knows that in restaurant business, hospitality, there are a lot of people who are not from the UK. But there has been a lot of restaurant closing. So I think we will, in terms of manpower, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. Maybe COVID and Brexit, it's working together. I don't know, but I believe that one of the biggest challenges so far outside the pandemic has been staffing level. And obviously, when you think about Brexit, you think, oh, wow, not so many people are going to come and live in the UK and work in hospitality. But because of what happened with the pandemic, so many places have been closing, won't probably reopen. I think we'll be okay with staffing level, and I think we'll have a better level of service.
Good to hear for the year ahead, indeed. And of course, businesses are facing uncertain times at the minute. So what conversations are you having with your team? Are you catching up on Zoom? How are these conversations going?
First lockdown, we used to catch up once a week on Zoom. Now we catch up once every other week on Zoom. Otherwise, we speak on the phone. So I'm talking with my core team, who then talk to their team as well. So we keep the dialogue, we keep talking and staying positive. Message is that it cannot last forever, so it's gonna end. And on our side, we try to get as much help as we can from the government, talking to the landlords and trying to stay afloat, which is not easy, but that keeps us busy. And starting to work on new menus, because obviously we're gonna probably reopen towards the beginning of spring. So starting already to look at new food menu, new drinks menu, trying to be really dynamic and positive, and focusing on reopening and not thinking of that we're going to be closed for much longer. Yeah, keeping positive. That's the message.
Great. Yeah, it definitely sounds like you're positive about the future. So that brings on to the next question. With the new menus and the strong team that you believe we're going to see in 2021, what other trends do you expect to see within the industry?
In the industry, well, at the moment, because people are not traveling, usually trend come from when people travel. Trend, I think it's going to be very focusing on quality more than ever, because there won't be room. I mean, there has never been room for bad service, for bad food, but I think more than ever now, if you want to stay alive and afloat in the industry, it's going to be quality, and I think that's going to be the new trend. There won't be room for for small error. You know, people will want to have a great quality food. It doesn't have to be a Michelin star level. It has to be authentic, honest, and soulful. What's in your plate, what's in your drink, and the service going with it. So I think it's authenticity and quality.
Great.
That's the brand.
Sounds good. We're looking forward to it. And do you have any advice for any other operators or employees alike to get through the next couple of months?
Well, with your business, you know, I'm in the restaurant now, but obviously we made sure that we cut everything: gas, electricity. You know, often you have your heating system on program, so we made sure that we stop the program. That when you switch it off, it doesn't come when you're not on site. You know, the government said stay home. I stay home, but I take my bicycle, so I don't travel public transport. Come to the restaurant to switch on the light once a week or twice a week, to water the plant, to make sure that the heat is working, that the building is. You don't abandon the ship. So my advice is, as long as you don't have to take a public transport, if you can come on a bicycle to your premises, go there on your own, and but you know, put on the heat, put on the music, put on the light, bring some life to the space. You know, do what you have to do at least one day in. Do your email from the space, but don't just leave it behind. I think you need to go to keep the walls warm and with a soul that you haven't run away. And you know, be patient. Try to get as much help as you can through the government. Keep talking to your landlords. This is the hardest part, because that's where it has been, I think, the most challenging. Is, you know, to pay your team. The government is helping with the furlough, but then you know, if you switch off the gas and electricity, you need to pay your rent, and that's what's been the most challenging. So keep talking to your landlord and try to get the best deal that you can. And stay positive. You have to stay positive. We still have a roof. As long as there is a roof, we need to stay positive and try to come back with energy and bring life when the pandemic is over.
Sounds good. Yes, you definitely have some positive advice for fellow operators, and I liked "Don't abandon the ship." Some sound advice. Okay, so that's on a business perspective. What about you? What have you been cooking during lockdown?
First lockdown, I was cooking a lot of vegetables. It was a springtime, so it was amazing. A lot of beautiful fresh peas, asparagus, broccoli. That was the first lockdown. Now, obviously, it's winter, so it's more like soup, cooking more like soup, a lot of pasta to keep some energy. But yeah, I love cooking, so it's been, some people have been starting to cook bread and learn how to cook bread. I haven't, but I've been doing a lot of cooking with a lot of vegetables and now being winter, a little bit more earthy dishes, confit de canard and lentils, for example, and with a nice bottle of wine. But yeah, cooking, if you like cooking, it's an opportunity to cook every day if you want. You have time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people, have definitely taken on the sourdough project over lockdown. And what's your go-to tipple during Boris's briefings?
What's my what, sorry?
Your go-to tipple. What do you have? What are you drinking? What's in your hand whilst you're watching Boris?
I'm not watching him.
Good. Good to hear.
I'm not watching him.
Yeah. And so where would be first on your list to travel when the restrictions are lifted?
To be honest, it's difficult just to, I mean, I don't really have a list because just to anywhere. Knowing that at the moment you cannot even go more than 5 miles from where you live. So I'd be happy to, yeah, just to go to Paris, jump in the Eurostar and go to see my business partner. We haven't seen each other for uh, since I opened the restaurant. So I'd be very happy to, yeah, I'd be very happy to go to Paris and spend a few days there to see the Parisian and my business partner.
Great. Sounds good. Yeah. And what do you feel like you've missed the most during this lockdown? What are you looking forward to other than traveling?
Well, restaurants, you know, people realize how important our restaurant is, not just a place to feed yourself. That used to be maybe a mentality thinking, oh, people go out just to feed themselves. No, people go out, feeding and drinking is an alibi to meet friends, to see your friends, to be in the you know effervescence of life. That's what our restaurant for, and that's what people miss a lot. And beyond being an operator, I miss meeting friends in restaurant and obviously going to museums and theater, going to the cinema, watch a film. Yes, that's, you know, so then you develop other things that you don't do. I've been reading a lot, more than I probably read usually. So it would be good to go back to restaurants and see film in cinema and not on your laptop.
Yes, exactly. I think missing the culture, it sounds like. And my last question, have you picked up any hobbies? But as you mentioned, you've been reading a lot more.
Yeah, reading more than I used to. I used to read a lot, but then I did not have the time to read. Now, obviously, we have time to read, so reading a lot. And hobbies. No, I was cooking before already. No, I think reading more. Yeah, reading more. Not new hobbies, no. But obviously more time to do things that you were not doing before.
Yeah, absolutely. More time to do things indeed. Well, thank you for joining Have a Drink with Guillaume from Louie.